It's so quiet. I've like suddenly got so quiet. I feel better already. I'm like in the middle of the camera. Let me fix it. Anytime I say the word camera, all I think about is that line from Scary Movie where she's like, yeah, that's right, you on candy camera. Candy camera. When Regina, is it her real name? Regina, Jesus, why can't I remember her name? The actress, her name is Regina. She's in a movie theater on a scary movie. And she's like, oh, that's some scary shit. That's how I feel right now. Maybe that's why I brought it up. It feels like some crazy, crazy stuff. I wanted to come in and do this energy update. I don't know why I feel like shy. Maybe it's somebody watching this video that feels like shy. But I really wanted to do this because I don't know, I feel like it was very much needed and I wanted to like talk about some stuff. So we are in the midst of ascension. Like never before. Ascension is the process of rising up as earthers and returning to a consciousness where we remember fully who we are. And I feel like that's the gist of it, where we remember fully who we are. I feel like it's been a lot of pressure today. I feel like it's always pressure, but like these last few days it's been like pressure. And I want to talk about some things. Right now it feels like all of it has dissolved and like I don't have anything to talk about now, but I had like a list of stuff in my mind that I wanted to talk about. But I'll still talk about it. I feel like one of them is money, and I said this before, so I guess I'm just talking about it again, but I'll talk about it in more depth, and I guess from like with different examples. But I posted on my story question, why do I feel guilty for not being able to afford the prices of thieves? And I don't know, maybe it's just me or maybe it's like multiple people where this is a thing, but I don't know, maybe it's just people who have like this do-gooder, overachiever type of archetype that struggle with this. But one of my things is like when I am not able to do something, especially in what I think is a reasonable amount of time, if I'm not able to achieve something that I want, I suddenly like start being really hard on myself. Like I start like saying like, oh man, I'm a failure. I should have been able to do this by this time, or I should be able to afford this. And it's just this feeling of pressure. And that's one of the reasons why I'm grateful for social media, because that's how I was feeling today. I was so annoyed because I'm like, I was guided to quit my job and that something would magically appear, fall out of the sky for me. And it took me months, but I finally did it. And it was nothing. Nothing fell out of the sky. And I waited, and then I finally started looking for jobs. And then like, it's like every time I do hear back from a company, they either, like I go through the process and they don't reach back out to me, or it ends up being something when I find out more details about the company, it's like, I'm like, this is not something that I could do. It's just like, it's so much like many blockades when it comes to me trying to get a normal job. And then when I try to do more stuff on like social media for my spiritual services, it's like that also falls flat. And it just feels like every time that I try to do something in terms of sustaining myself with money, it just doesn't work out. And I keep being forced to like be patient and go according to Spirit's plan, which is very, very frustrating. And it makes me feel like I'm not able to like be a good human, like be a you know, I don't know, a good human who's able to like work and do these different things. And then I go online and I see like videos of people and they're talking about the same stuff. They're talking about how everything is like 4 times as expensive as it used to be. Like I was thinking today, I'm like, if I wanted to make sticky buns today, these like bread sticky buns from scratch. And the ingredients, you know, in my mind, I'm like, it don't cost that much. It's just flour, some yeast, some butter, and some milk. If you go to the store and get that stuff, it's gonna be like $30-40. I swear. If you get like all the stuff on the list, the cinnamon, the pecans, like it's gonna add up. Then plus the tags, I'm like, that's gonna be a lot of money just to make some bread, basically. And that's the state that we're at now. And instead of like, I don't know, realizing that it's like this is all a game and it's been intentionally set up that way so that I can be stressed, I put it all on myself, which I feel like is also something that's a part of the game and something that's been taught. Is this idea of like asking people to hold themselves accountable for things that they are unaware of and that are out of their control. Like I remember, like there's this whole push about like save the environment, you know, do this and this and this for the environment. If you are drinking out of paper cups or plastic cups, then you're killing the environment and you're killing all the fish, and you know, it's your fault. You need to do better. And I remember I was watching this episode of Queer Eye. I feel like I need to go watch Queer Eye anytime I get upset. I need to go watch Queer Eye. Because their episodes always make me feel good. And I was watching this one episode of Queer Eye, and it was this like really thorough activist who was very young. She was a very young woman. And Queer Eye brought this up. They were like, we probably need to be doing better. We should now start riding bikes instead of taking, you know, the truck to the meeting places. And she told them, she was like, well, actually, most of the pollution comes from these gigantic companies who are very irresponsible. You know, you can get into the politics of this and that, but I'm using this as an example of like there's this whole campaign against individual people to like do better. You're not doing enough. You're causing this. You should blame yourself. And in reality, the real problem is these gigantic billion dollar, trillion dollar companies that are causing this pollution. And then so you go like, what do you do? What do you do about this? And I don't know, this is also something that, you know, you come back to. You know, I watch those videos like that. They talk about, you know, college debt and like all the job. There's no jobs for people who graduated college, and then if there are, you have to have this how many years of experience, and if you have experience with no degree, you still can't get hired. And then like they pay basically nothing with everything increasing, and it's like, what do you do then? You go back to ascension. In my opinion, and from what I feel and what I'm like picking up, is that because we are so close to all of this ending, I honestly do not believe that we should have to pay to live. I feel like that is something that is lower than barbaric. You should not have to pay to live. You should not have to look a certain way or give certain things to certain people in order to afford to be alive. There should be no affording to be alive. There should be nothing when it comes to deserve or who has the most desirable talent in order to live. That should not be a thing. And so, because this is not about to be a thing anymore, there's been lots of increase of like attempts and somewhat successful attempts to keep this from happening, and you can't. A lot of people are talking about this. You can only delay it and keep it going and keep, you know, and I don't know, create circumstances where people will have more suffering that happens with them. So some recommendations. I would recommend listening to my videos, because as I said before, it don't matter what I say or whatever I'm talking about in my videos, I always set the intention to have a certain frequency straight from source, straight from spirit, to then send out into the collective every single time I do anything. mentioned, I don't 100% agree, but I do find these people to be helpful. Hopefully this is recording. If you're watching this, can you let me know by what's it called, making a comment that it's working, because it just clicked off. Roya Darling, Ramona Lappin, who I mentioned a lot, and somebody I was just introduced to through Ramona Lappin, she shared one of his videos, is Darius J. Wright. And there's a lot of other people. You can mention them in the comments if you would like. For, I guess, just different perspectives on the same thing that I'm talking about. So, like I said, going back, what can you do when all of this stuff is happening? Like, what then is the solution? The solution then is yourself, is love, is to go back into yourself and kind of like heal or like correct or override these fear programs. And I'll give you an example. Like I was saying earlier when I first started recording about how I tend to start immediately blaming myself, and then you get into these ideas, you know, I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough, I didn't bring enough to the table, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't savvy enough. Like it's just this whole thing of like you weren't business savvy enough, you weren't ruthless enough, you didn't work hard enough, you didn't try hard enough. And like I said, you should not have to try at all in order to be able to eat and have a place to live. Those should be basic things, and they are basic rights of every being. So you have to like really face all those things and confront all those things almost with like, I would say like wisdom of source and like your soul's logic, if that makes sense. Or you can just try being neutral to them, which usually doesn't work out for me. I'm not very good, I don't think, at being neutral. What helps me a lot is being very authentic when it comes to my emotions. I was watching a show today called Sex Education. It's on the last season, season 4, and there's this character named Amy, and she was basically sexually assaulted while she was on a bus. And so throughout the season, you see her on this whole journey of like regaining back her power, taking her power back. And because this happened, and she was assaulted in a public setting, and so that's something that specifically she's working on and dealing with. And in the past, before this happened, she would have, you know, a lot of women, a lot of people, a lot of feminine people, but a lot of women and girls kind of trained to just take shit all the time and to, oh, Ireland, that's so cool. Oh, I love accents from any place. I love accents so much. So, I don't know, I would love to hear your Irish accent. But okay, as I was saying. So, yeah, beforehand, like whenever men, you know, or people would do stuff to her or say things to her that made her uncomfortable, she would just take it. And that is a part of the distorted feminine. And the men doing this stuff is a part of the distorted masculine, and it never gets fixed because it just goes around in a circle. So anyways, after she was sexually assaulted, and now we're in season 4, and she's working through that, she stops at this yard because she wants to take photography seriously. So she wants to take these pictures, and these men who are the typical construction workers, they start like catcalling to her. Why aren't you smiling? Like, put a smile on your face, do something, da, 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 da. You know, like saying all these things to her. And what she does, I feel like that this is the best advice ever, and you just take it however, in whatever context you would like. Keep it in mind, you know, discernment of your own safety. Don't hurt anybody, please. But basically, what she does is she goes out and stands in front of them and she shouts at them, I just came from a funeral. Leave me alone. You know, I'm having a bad time. And she just shouts it out at them right then in that moment. and then it's done. You know, maybe later on she'll tell somebody about it, but those emotions are no longer harboring in her, because I feel like what happens is we let these, you know, these things happen in real time, and then we don't treat ourselves as best as we could by what's it called, like validating our emotions right there in the middle of what's happening. And so it sits in us and it brews in us, and then what happens is we end up projecting it out, and then that's where you have like the cycles over and over and over again. So that's one of the, I don't know, the best advice that I can give in terms of what I do. Like today I was just so fed up because I'm just like, I need actual things to be happening in my reality. I need physical support. I need support from people in real ways, and I need, you know, abundance in real ways. It does not have to be money. Abundance can come from anywhere. I was like, I've done everything. I do everything all the time. I ask every day, show me the way. You know, I surrender, I sit and I meditate, and it's just like nothing is happening. Just like nothing. And so I had like a huge screaming match with spirit. And after I had that screaming match, I felt better. I feel like, you know, because of like, I don't know for everybody else, but me, I have a religious upbringing, wasn't super strict, but I did. And so there's like this idea of like, God is your principal, you know, at the school. And so you can't shout at your principal. You can't cuss at your principal. You can't say certain things or bring up certain things, because then that principal will expel you and you'll get kicked out of school, and then like there'll be all these repercussions. But honestly, I feel like Spirit don't care like if you yell at them and you cuss them out, because Spirit loves you unconditionally. Source loves you unconditionally without judgment. So it's not going to be like this slap on the wrist if you express yourself directly to them. And I feel like there's also the benefit of, you know, expressing yourself and your anger and your frustration directly to Spirit, is that you're not putting it on somebody else. You know, instead of like shouting at somebody else or putting blame on somebody else, you can go straight to Source, you know, which is you, which is, you know, your power. You speak and address yourself and be like, hey, what the hell going on? You know, I need some help. And basically, after time, I finally got a response, and it was just that everything is happening as it should. that was the response I got. So now we're gonna get some cards. I always find it strange. I feel like it's also been for me like an increase in like jealousy, like, or envy, whenever these little moments happen when I'm like so annoyed at Spirit for not like bringing like 3D miracles into my life, despite all the effort that I've given, all the changes and all the hard work that I've done. I always like start to look around at other people, and I'm just like, what is not fair? And I'm sure like a million people probably look at me and say the same thing. And the truth is that we're all having a hard time. And that's why it's very important that we all become aware of what's happening, you know, on the biggest scale. And the best way to do that, I would say, would to be by really feeling into things, because there's a lot of like, there's this like trickery, like I was saying before with my example about, you know, the sustainability, like doing stuff that's good for the earth. It's like this feeling of like, point the blame at you, but really there is a whole bunch of terrible shit happening on a mass scale to specifically target individuals, you know, and keep them in cycles of suffering. And so one of the best ways that you can know this, besides doing all this research and going online and going down these holes of like, I don't know, different political and conspiracy theories, would be to feel it for yourself that, hey, this isn't mine. I feel like a lot of the thoughts that we have, a lot of the belief systems that we have are not ours. They're just stuff that we've been taught. And so something that I really like that Ramona says, and a lot of people say, but I watch her a lot, and she always says, like, forget everything you know. Forget everything that you've been taught, because a lot of the stuff is lies. It's not legit, and it's not real, and we get caught up in these fake stories all the time, and I don't know if I'm even making sense. But I wanted to do this video, and I felt like when I was about to record it just on my own, I'm gonna take this one out. It needed to be live. I felt like this video needed to be live. I'm gonna take the fool out. Look at that. Magician and what's this? 8 of Pentacles. We'll do those. Should I scoot back? It's fine. The trees. Oh, thank you. Very interesting. I don't know if I said this yet. I think I have in my past videos, and it might be relevant, so I'll mention it now. So I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. I love Taylor Swift. It all started when, so my house was, should I share this? Do a little thing of protection. I used to be very private, but obviously I'm not super private no more. But so basically my house was destroyed in a tornado, and we had to move. Thank God we were able to, but we had to move to some apartments. And I don't know, I was just, I was relocated from an area that I've been living for a while, for some years. And I remember I sat down at the computer in our apartment, and I typed in on YouTube to just watch YouTube, and the video came up was the song You Belong With Me by Taylor Swift. And I watched it, and I felt like that song was like, I don't know, it just like gave me a little burst of joy. And ever since then, I just really loved Taylor Swift and got into her more and more. And one year for my birthday, I wanted to redecorate my room after years. And I got that as a birthday present, my room to be decorated the way that I wanted. And so I ordered a wallpaper on my own. And this was during like the COVID lockdown. Like this was the same year, 2020. And I ordered this wallpaper in advance. And then Taylor Swift announced that she was dropping the Folklore album. And it basically had the same like trees on it. I have one of her albums, like the albums here. This isn't like the normal cover that's on like the one on it's Apple Music and stuff. It's just one of the versions for the records. But I feel like it's important because I originally had this cardigan on and I took it off because it was too hot. So I don't know what's the message from that. But anyways, it was like a psychic thing. Like I had already ordered this in advance, and like she dropped that album on my birthday. Like I ordered this in advance for my birthday, and then on my birthday she dropped the album with like this basically the same cover art on her album. And so I feel like the message from that would be to trust your instincts. And there's surprises. I've been getting the same message for months, and it's been driving me up the wall. There's an unexpected surprise is gonna happen. Something is gonna fall out of the sky. I've been waiting for something to fall out of the sky for months, and it has not. It's been like 2 drops of rain. Literally here in Texas, it's barely been raining. It's been very hot. But anyways, I feel like that's the message. Like there's no way that I could have predicted that she was gonna drop the album with this cover art, but my intuition was ahead of the physical reality of synchronizing with Taylor Swift. And so I feel like that's the message right now, that the messages that you've been receiving, or like the green lights, the thumbs up that you've been getting, are ahead of it, grounding in reality. I do quotes because I do believe that this is a matrix in terms of a lot of stuff is not real, and that a lot of people, you know, are just going along kind of like zombies, and that's ending now. A lot of people like me are waking up and gaining more and more access to themselves, their true selves. And so, yeah, hopefully that's the surprise, something grounding in real life, physicalizing, physical. I don't know, I probably sound crazy, but it's okay. So, all these cards came out. Can I shift it or should I just scoot back? I think I'll just scoot. You can kind of see. Okay. So, Lord, it's still not good enough. All right, we have the Hangman and no, the Hermit. I don't know why I said the Hangman. Hermit in reverse. We have the Nine of Cups, the Four of Wands, and the Queen of Swords. I'm laughing and blowing that frustrated breath because I always get like really good, positive cards. It's something magical is about to happen. And it's like, I don't know, like imagine like a parent telling their kid like, someday soon I'm gonna come and pick you up and we're gonna go to this amazing theme park. And so you like think it's gonna happen like, you know, within the week. And then the week goes by and they don't show up. And then the next week goes by and they don't show up. And then the next month goes by and they don't show up. I've been getting these cards for months. And I haven't seen it yet. But I will say, I feel like now I'm being called to talk a little bit about this whole idea of like being perfect or being like completely healed in order for stuff to happen. I feel like that is one of the trickster kind of things, because on one hand, we do create our reality, and you know, if you give a person $1 million, but in their mind, you know, they really have a bad relationship with themselves, they don't like themselves, they don't like how they look, they don't like how they are, that $1 million isn't gonna like make them happy. They're still gonna be like in the trenches. And so in that sense, it is important for everybody to do like, you know, healing work and to love themselves and this and that, la 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 la. But at the same time, I feel like it needs to be stated very clearly that you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fully healed. You don't need to, you know, never screw stuff up or say the wrong thing or, you know, be humble forever, all the time, never cuss, never drink, I don't know, you know, stuff like that in order to receive abundance. We are already abundant. We are souls that are of infinite value. You cannot put a value on us. We are creators. We are brilliant magicians and manifestors. And that is the case, irregardless of any outstanding circumstances. And so I feel like, I don't know why, I feel like I'm picking this up from these cards for some reason. Yeah, underneath this is the Chariot. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, look, it is 8 of Wands. And then look, after that, Death card. Wow. So, what's this? After the 6 of Pentacles came the Chariot, which is one of the fastest cards in the deck. This is the other fast card in the deck. And then the Death card. And so what I'm picking up from this, I feel what I'm hearing is divine timing or divine alignment. It's this feeling of like, this is what's been irritating me. For some reason, I'm seeing like the movie, what's it called? Transformers, the second one with Shia LaBeouf, and it's still Megan in that one, Megan Fox. Yes. So Shia LaBeouf's character was leaving for college, I think. And it's like Megan Fox's character, she was like sad because, you know, they're in a romantic relationship. And it's like there's nothing that she can do to like, you know, sustain a relationship. There's nothing she can do to make him not go because you don't want to tell him not to go. You want the best for him, da 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 da. But she couldn't, like, they ended up having a lot of time together because during that time, like, there was this, like, piece of the cube that Shia LaBeouf had, he didn't know he had, like, he accidentally got a piece of it, and it's very important to the Transformer bots. Like, it holds a lot of information, and he didn't even know he had it. And it's like, all Megan's character saw was that, you know, the love of my life is leaving off for college, and I'm gonna stay here and work at this car shop with my dad, and like that's gonna be the story. And like, you know, she doesn't get a scholarship. There's no money coming in to like where she could leave her dad and he'd be supported on his own because I think he had gotten out of prison. Like there's nothing coming in to like help or to sustain it. And then it's like, until there is, I feel like she could have never predicted that there would be a piece of the cube and like his glasses would be a part of like putting it together, and all of this would lead to them spending a lot of time together. And it's all from this death card. Like it's all from this ending that was being created. And this is a message that's been coming to me a lot that I haven't really understood, that I've been annoyed about. But the message has basically been like, let go of your plans, let go of your dreams. Like one of my dreams, I don't want to share. I feel like I'm gonna keep to myself. But you know, basically my dream is to have like abundance so that I can be truly free. And you know, I have specific ways that I would like that to be you know, delivered in my life. And the message has been to like let go of those dreams because they're limited and they're small, and you can't see how they're limited because you're coming from that limited perspective. And so I feel like that's what these cards are saying. There is something that's going to come in really, really fast, and it's going to change everything for the best, not the better, for the best, in a way that you couldn't possibly foreseen anything. I don't even think they knew about a cube by the second movie of the Transformers. Like the context wasn't even there for her even to have this possibility be predicted by her. And it's gonna bring a lot of justice with this 6 card. 6 is an even number. And I just feel like with this one having a scale in it, is gonna be a lot of clarity and a lot of fairness and a lot of justice and equality. Yeah, in this sense, because it's like, I don't know, they'll get like a proper chance to like, I don't know, slow burn their relationship out rather than like it coming to that abrupt ending on that specific day. And that's the justice in that sense. I hope all this stuff is making sense. I'm just going as I go. So the Hermit in reverse is clarified by the High Priestess. This is the first one that came out. 9 of Cups is clarified by the Fool. 4 of Wands is clarified by the Magician. Lots of major arcana. And the Queen of Swords, apologies, is clarified by the 8 of Pentacles. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you for watching this video. I don't know, I feel like there is some stuff here. I want to say you are more supported than you think. You're more supported than you think. There's a lot of like silence, which I don't like, but there is support there. And that's one of the messages that I'm getting. It's like a lot of people watch my videos or like, you know, anybody's videos, you know, people get views and like only a small percentage of those people, let's say like 10%, will actually give a thumbs up or write a comment. But that doesn't mean that like all those other people watched it and they don't care. And I feel like that's another one of those tricks sorts of things. You know what I mean? Like it's a trick of this reality to like convince people first to associate, you know, likes and comments with support. Like this equals support. This equals people show up for you. Right? Which it can, to be real. But it also, it isn't, what's it called? It's not mutually exclusive. People can support the hell out of you and like give you so much, you know, love and send you good vibes without ever leaving something physical to prove it. I would say like one example would be Beyonce, who I mention all the time. Like, I don't usually comment under her posts, and some of them I don't even like because I don't feel like liking them. But it's like I always send her such, you know, high vibes of love. But like she'll never know it. She'll never know me. She'll never know that I do this. And it's like this, unless you like are aware and you have this mindset of like, I have access to more than I think that I do. And like I said, like this whole idea of like a lack mentality, it's not just your fault. Like it's just not on you. It is on you because, you know, it's your responsibility to, you know, maintain your thoughts and maintain your perspective. But like, let's also be truthful in that there has been so much programming, so much socializing to get you to associate certain things with certain things, and then those certain things end up being associated with your value and your self-worth. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? There's a show called My Happy Marriage on Netflix. It's an anime. I love it. I haven't finished it yet though. And there's the main character is this girl or this woman. She's very soft spoken and like she doesn't really speak much. She lets people walk all over her. And on one hand, yes, it is her responsibility to stand up for herself and to speak her own truth. But you cannot ignore the fact like her whole family that she grew up with for years, like telling her she ain't worth shit, you know, putting her in a small room and giving her scraps, making her do the same work as a servant, never buying her any new clothes, like cutting her off from the world. Those things also play a huge role in, you know, the way that she is, the way that she's feeling disempowered. And so that goes into like what I was saying about the lack mentality of feeling like, you know, only 10% of people show up, only 10% of people who watch anybody's things are giving thumbs up and leaving comments. But that isn't to say that there's not this other 90% who actually do give a damn. It's a lot of other factors that go into, you know, reasons why, a lot of things that go unseen, that are contributing negatively or not for your highest good, so to speak. And so I feel like that's where you see we have all these major arcana cards come out, and just frankly all these very positive cards come out. It's a feeling of like, we're coming and we're here. Now I'm getting Shrek and Fiona. I'm just like jumping all around. Shrek and Fiona, how Fiona was like in that tower for forever. She was in there for a long time. And like, you know, imagine her sitting up there and like waiting on her knight in shining armor to come, and then finally Shrek comes. And he's nothing like she thought he was gonna be. He's nothing like she thought he was gonna be. And then there's a donkey. It's supposed to be a white horse, and that's what I feel like is the message from Spirit, and like everything that I've been saying about everything is happening as it should, and to get rid of your specific expectations and become more general in them. Because she was hoping for Prince Charming on a white horse, in shining armor. If she would have gotten what she asked for, she would have ended up with that very self-centered douchebag Prince Charming, who he didn't care about her. Like, he was all about himself. He wanted to be a prince, and then she would have been tied to his mother, who was a con artist. Like, if she would have gotten what she wanted, it would have been terrible. Instead, the universe brought her Shrek and Donkey, and she ended up having, 3 kids, living, so happy, feeling fulfilled, growing to love herself and appreciate her authentic ogre self, and that's what I was saying about this idea of, like, being perfect, to deserve certain things. It's ridiculous. But that's the message from Spirit. Like, let go of the idea of the knight in shining armor with the perfect beauty mark and the blonde hair and the white horse, and just be open to abundance and being taken care of, just in any way, without expectations. Because Spirit will always, when you ask, exceed even what you ask for. And that's why we have this star sign and this 7 of Cups that just loves to keep coming out. If you watched my, my energy update, was it an energy update? It was the one that's like late at night with the little star on there. I can't remember, but the 7 of Cups, I talked about how this card keeps coming out. And I feel like this is like your wildest dreams and your fantasies coming true, but in a way that is more limitless than your limited perspective. In the Phoenix Feather reading that I posted today, on this day, September 24th, 2023, I mentioned the word Ariel. And it wasn't like the fish, the mermaid. It was Aereal. I don't know how to spell. I'm a terrible speller, but it's like the one that has to do with flight. And it was saying like a higher perspective, like an aerial perspective, rather than one that is, flat. Right? I feel like what I'm seeing now as a person, they're standing right at the edge of a forest. And somebody's like, you can have whatever you want, from this forest. And that person, all they can see is like 3-4 acres in front of them. And they say, okay, I want 3 or 4 acres. But if they were on top, they would be able to see that that land is actually 50 acres. It's actually 100 acres. And you could have had this waterfall and this river run through it. But if you're standing in front of it on the ground, you're not able to see all that stuff. You can only see so far. And this is why you have agreed to let your higher self, your highest self, that is Spirit, take charge in this way and deliver this stuff in divine timing. Because you knew when you were coming alive here, so to speak, being born here, that you would not be able to see it all the way. You'd only be able to see so far. So you handed over your consent. And, now that it's time to really trust that consent that you gave, it's very hard. I'm talking about myself. Like, it's very hard for me to be patient. It really, really is. Because I'm just like, I want the best and I want it now. I feel like it's a very, American perspective to have. But that's how I am. It's King of Cups, and then the 8 of Cups in reverse, and then we have the Knight of Cups. So look at this, cups. We have a pond here, cups here, cups here, cups here, cups here. So this abundance coming in also comes with a lot of emotional fulfillment. Oh, thank you. A lot of emotional fulfillment coming in, because it's like, don't know, I always have this thing where I've been very blessed in my life, and I think that's why I get so frustrated, because in the past I've easily been able to manifest stuff, like really easily. Like I always was able to, like, when I really want something, I was able to get it, even if I ended up not liking it when I got it. And so I don't know, there's this like I've had this experience where I got something that I wanted, and I was just like so miserable when I had it, because there was no person around to like to share it with. Like I had what I wanted, I had what I manifested, and like I was just so alone. I didn't really have like even this community. I just started getting into it, but I was super psychic already and picking up all this stuff, and like you don't have anybody to share that with. I'm sure everybody can relate. It's very, very scary if you did that, a spiritual awakening in like a isolated environment, you know, not to mention during the pandemic where everybody has to like be separate and apart. And I don't know, when I no longer had the thing that I had prayed for and manifested, I was relieved. And I was relieved because I didn't have to be isolated anymore. And so now that I'm a few years removed, I see like I don't just want, you know, for example, this kind of success in my career. I don't want to move to this place, you know, a dream place, I don't know, Seattle, Washington or something like that. Because if you do, you know, you get what you want, you go there, but you don't have any friends, you don't have anybody that relates to you, you don't have a romantic partner, you don't have a close relationship, you know, with anybody, it's gonna feel terrible. It's gonna feel like hell. And so I feel like this is a message from Source that this is the full package. Not only will it be like real change or something magical happening, it'll come with emotional fulfillment. And I also feel like one of the messages is options. I feel like the way the world works, just to go by example from like school and career and stuff, like when you're little, everybody's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you have to like give them one thing: a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, I know, a musician, a painter. Like it's this one thing. And I feel like that's what I was saying before about Spirit encouraging all of us to remember and to engage in our abundance. You don't have to, like, once this comes in, it's not going to be this stagnant thing. Like, you know, say for example, you got your dream house, so you can't go nowhere else. Like you got to stay there forever, you know, and keep working in this area with this dream house. It's like, no, you can go travel. You can leave that house for 2 years and go stay somewhere else and come back. It doesn't have to be this very stagnant sort of thing, because that's a limit. That's still working in terms of like the old programming and old ways and thoughts and beliefs. Like for example, like the American dream is like to own the house with the picket fence. I don't know if that's still a thing, but what's it, Norman Rockwell sort of thing, where like you get the house and the picket fence, and like that's their dream house. Like you're taught, like you get that dream house and that's where you stay. If you want an example, you can think of the movie Home Alone and how they had that house, and that's their house. Like that's where you stay. You know, you come back year after year and you stay there. I feel like it's very detrimental to the soul. I was watching a video by Darius J. Wright, Wright. I know how to spell that. And he was talking about the love and light community, which I've spoken on before, of like this idea, like always stay in the love and like the positive type of mindset. Like that's the love and light community. And Darius was saying that that's very limiting to an infinite soul, just to always stay in that one fractal of emotional being. And I feel like that's what that kind of white picket fence home kind of represents. Like so many people stress so much, worry so much, trying to maintain, you know, when they do get those homes or you do get that car, you struggle and you stress so much to just maintain this because you've been taught your whole life, work your ass off, and then one day you might get this thing, and when you get that thing, you hold on to it and you fight like hell to maintain it. Like, what is that? I feel like that's not the right way to, that's not very, you know, validating to your soul. That is just very everything. You know what I mean? Like, your soul is everything. It's very limiting. See the number 27 on the time. 2772, 722 is a number that came up today with me and one of my friends. So I think that's interesting. So I'm seeing here the Fool card is 0, and then the Magician card is 1, and then the High Priestess card is 2. But they're out of order. The 2 is first, and then it's 0, and then it's 1. And so I feel like this message, I feel like there's infinite amount of messages here, but I'll only go for so long. So the 2 is the High Priestess, right? So I feel like the message from Spirit in terms of like steps, because I've said before that time doesn't really exist, you know, and, you know, as it does, you know, because we believe in it, it doesn't function in the way that we think it does. As I was saying earlier about the album, like, I feel like me choosing out this wallpaper happened at the same time of Taylor Swift, like, coming up with this idea for the cover art for the Folklore album, but it was out of order in terms of it appearing, if that makes sense. And so that's just an example of time. So to come back to this one, and the tarot cards being out of order in terms of, you know, how they go, starting with the major arcana. The first step is to really start trusting your intuition and getting in tune with what's really real. Start, you know, stepping back and taking those moments of silence to really digest. Like, is this something that's real and something that I should pay attention to? Or is this some type of scheme or trick to keep me stuck in the prison of my mind? So take back your power in terms of, I would say, your higher chakras, in terms of the High Priestess. And then after that is the 0, which is the new beginning. So once you take your power back in terms of your following your heart, trusting your instincts, trusting your higher knowledge and wisdom, then you'll see that it's a lot safer, actually, than you originally thought it was. There's really nothing to fear. This is something that I know there's nothing to fear, and yet it's something that I struggle with all the time. There's nothing to fear. And so get into like this go-y, flowy, full type of energy where like you don't resist anything, but you still have your boundaries, but you don't resist anything, and you're just open. Once you're in that space, then you're like primed to manifest. It's going in order. You're primed to manifest, and I feel like this is when you should start, like, I don't know, taking divinely inspired action. And as I say all the time, this could be anything. This could be going to get a donut. This could be writing a poem. This could be sharing a post. This could be anything. Divinely inspired action. And then after that, we have the 8 of Pentacles. And I feel like this isn't you so much as spirit, so much as the universe, your higher self, you know, interchangeable names. But it's like then reality will start shifting and working out for you once you've taken these steps as mentioned previously. Okay? Or I'm going to get ready to close out. We're going to do some oracle cards, so I'm trying to figure out which ones to pick. Yeah. Okay. This one is stuck in the bottom. It's the truth. The truth is the most important thing right now. I mentioned this earlier with my example from the sex education show with the character Amy, and how when she felt something, she immediately expressed it instead of repressing it. It's very important that you start respecting how you feel. We're trained a lot, socialized, programmed constantly to kind of always override how our bodies, how our systems naturally react to things. Because even if that reaction is like, overly dramatic or faulty or whatever, at least then now you know. I was watching a Miley Cyrus, her video where she explains, goes about her life. And she recalled several moments in her life when something devastating happened and she just kept on working. Like her friend died and then she got back to work and finished the scene. And now, she had to take a lot of time to process after that. And I feel like I know this is the message. Life will be much more easier. There won't be so much baggage if you unpack right there in the moment. There won't be no baggage then. If you don't have nothing to pack up, if you get it out right then in a way that you feel is best for you, saves a lot of trouble. It's what I feel. I don't know what happened to this card. It's the message. My legs falling asleep. All right, let's see. So the deck that I'm using before, this is the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot by US Game Systems Inc. And this is the Gothic Oracle deck by Anne Stokes. And it's illustrated by Stephen Wright. I like not having to type that stuff in the description. Be getting tired of writing descriptions. Lord. I just saw the number 25 in my mind's eye. 25. That's too many. We'll take one. Ooh, Hidden Depths. This looks so cute. So, for the second time, this might sound a bit strange, but like I say with everything, don't get caught up in I don't know, the woo-woo or the political whatever of it all. Just try to take it for metaphorically. So I heard for the second time yesterday from a different person that there are people who have gone down deep into the ocean and they see ponds and rivers down there, which sounds kind of mind-bending and crazy. And like I said, it don't really matter, if it's true or not, unless you plan going down there. But I feel like with this card, Hidden Depths, that's a good kind of metaphor. They were saying it's water existing within water. And so I feel like this is a message that I've been getting before. There is something hidden within what you already see that you can't see. Something that's mind-bending and doesn't make sense to your mind that's been taught one way over years and years, decades, days, over and over, reinforced. It's just ocean. It's just ocean. It just looks this way. And I feel like this is a part of the reason why, if you've been like me, very frustrated because I can't see, what's coming for me, even though I'm psychic. A part of the reason why you can't see, reason why you've been blocked, is because it would probably be too much for your brain to process all at once. And so it has to be a gradual thing, because even if you think about literally going down that far into the ocean to get to the hidden depths, that's a process that takes a long time. It takes time to go through that. I don't feel like this is going to take a long time to show up, because as I said, it's these pretty fast, speedy cards here. But this is Spirit's message. Like, that's why you can't see. It's because it's something that goes against what you've been taught to know and to believe. Ugh. All right. Oh, some more water. Immortal flight. Immortality. So, I feel like the message with this is that you can't mess this up and you can't get it wrong, because at the end of it all, it's not the end, because you can't die. We cannot die. Our souls are more than immortal. They're eternal. Like, it's not even a thing that you can, you know, crush it. That doesn't exist. You just believe it. And I feel like this is something that Spirit wants you to keep in mind. Like, zoom out sometimes. When stuff gets too hard, zoom out real far and just remember, like, I am an eternal soul, and not only will I survive this that I feel is unsurvivable, but I will thrive and have so much life even after this. Zooming out is the advice here. Okay? So I'm going to get a quote from one of these Nancy Drew books. The Sign of the Falcon, 130. It's by Carolyn Keene. I never opened it. This book never been opened. I got this book for free. It was so cool. From one of those little tiny libraries where you exchange. It's chapter 7, and it's called Kidnapped. So I feel like something is about to be miraculously, very quickly removed from your life. Like, you know how you kidnap a person or something, you take it real quick and it's gone. So something's about to be removed. We have Nancy ran. She noticed that the floor wasn't carpeted. Why hadn't she heard the person sneak up behind the suit of armor? See, sneaking up behind. And in the suit of armor, I mentioned that earlier with Shrek. The only explanation was that the person had been there all along, waiting to ambush the girls as they walked through the arms and armor room. But who could it have been? Not Paige Darrell. She had a sprained ankle, and there was no way she could have beaten the girl to that spot, though she had been awfully nervous during their meeting. And then another thought occurred to Nancy. Where were the guards? Why hadn't one of them heard the commotion and come rushing to the scene? And what about the alarm system? Nancy stopped for a second as they came to an intersection of two corridors. Off to the right was something called the Pritchard Hall of Medieval Art. Off to the left was a sculpture wing. Nancy thought she could hear a faint sound coming from that direction. This way, she told the girls, pointing to the left. Ooh. So I feel like all of this, like somebody in a suit of armor, something that was divinely protected, has been there all along, but it's gonna appear suddenly without you being aware of it. And I feel like that's, if you feel uncomfortable right now, if you feel strange, like I've been feeling strange, if reality feels strange or you see stuff from the side of your eyes, I feel like you can take all of that as a sign that you are divinely guided, you're divinely protected, and that you're being led. Because the mention of directions, like turn to the left. If you're watching this video right now, there might be something to your left that is a sign or message for you. To my left is a door. So I feel like, you know, a door opening, you know, something opening, a portal. I don't know, but this is the end of this live video. I'm gonna go eat some food. I would appreciate a donation. There's donation links. I'll put them in the description. But yeah, just thank you for your support. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody who does support me and who has supported me before. Very appreciated. And yeah, I think that's it. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Bonne chance.